Sharp is a fan of Uber, the taxi service you can book online or with your app. It allows you to summon an available cab which is already nearby. All the details of the journey are then available on your Uber account. Well, Jade was a fan, that is, until she realised that often accessibility didn't include carrying her guide dog. And she's now mounted a one-woman campaign to put this right. Jade told me what had been going on.
So let's take May last year, for example. Me and a friend were going to a concert in Croydon and we booked the Uber on my iPhone, and I decided to ring the driver to let him know that I had a guide dog travelling with me, because one time when I didn't, the driver turned up, saw I had Brodie with me and drove off. So I like to ring to save the humiliation of them turning up and then cancelling on the spot. So I rang up, said to the driver, I've got a guide dog travelling with me. And he said, I don't take pets in my car. So I said to him, he's not a pet, he's a working dog, he's my eyes. And the driver then said, I don't take dogs in my car, hung up the call, and he ended the trip.
So you were left standing, basically?
Yes.
And this case actually came to court. What was the upshot of the case?
Well, we've had several court cases, but one of these ones in particular, the driver was found guilty and he had to pay a fine of £1,550, and he's got to pay that within 12 weeks.
And in that case, what was claimed in court? What did the driver, what was his side of the story?
He just kept saying that he didn't hear the word guide, all he heard was the word dog.
And that successful prosecution, that was to do with the May event, was it?
Yes, it was, yes.
You mentioned the word humiliation. I mean, can you just describe what it's like to have this kind of thing happen?
It makes me feel really quite angry and quite upset, because I should just be able to get in a taxi. I shouldn't even have to tell them I have a guide dog with me. It should just be okay for me to get in a taxi and tell them where I'm going, and I should be able to get there okay.
This isn't the only case you've brought, is it? Can you give me a sense of the extent of the problem?
Well, all in all, I've been refused by 9 Uber drivers in total. We've had 5 cases so far. We've had 2 that have pleaded guilty by post. 3 drivers we have found guilty in court, and we've got cases outstanding.
Now, Uber say that they've apologised to you and they recognise they've fallen short. They also say that while the licensed drivers who use their app are self-employed, they remind them of their legal obligation to take service animals before they start driving. And they also say that the drivers not only risk having their Uber partnership revoked, but also having their private hire licence taken away. What's your reaction to that? I mean, can they do much more than that?
I think they just need to be a lot more firmer with their drivers when they all sign up to become an Uber driver, because there is Uber Assist, which you can get in London, where all the drivers are specially trained in helping out wheelchairs or guide dog users, but there's only 100 Uber Assist taxis around, and where I live in Roehampton, you can't really get these Uber Assist taxis because it's so far away from central London. And
of course, it strikes me, you are at least in London. A lot of people outside London, first of all, may not have this service at all, and secondly, even if they have, probably be even less of these assist drivers, wouldn't there?
Yeah.
Of course, it isn't just Uber drivers, is it, who refuse to take guide dogs? I mean, regular listeners to this programme will know this is a repetitive problem.
See, I've only really mainly been refused by Uber drivers.
I suppose the question arises, why don't you just use other forms of taxis in that case?
I guess what it is I like about the Uber app is it's convenient, it's accessible, it's easy to use, and it's not as expensive as other taxis to get around in. I like the app because with VoiceOver on the iPhone, it works really well. All the buttons are labelled, VoiceOver reads it out clearly, and it's brilliant because you get the driver's registration number, you get his name, and you get what kind of car he's driving as well. And if you do have a bit of partial vision, then you get a picture of what the driver looks like, and there's even a map so you can see where the car is driving. So if he's driving away from you, you can ring him and say, hang on a second, you're going down the wrong road.
Quite often, drivers make the claim, and I think the claim was made in one case in one of the cases you brought, that, you know, that they have allergies. Do you have any sympathy with this claim? It may well be genuine in some cases.
Well, if that is the case, then they need to have a certificate that says they've got a medical exemption.
What do you want this campaign to achieve? What are you really after with this campaign?
I guess I'm just mainly doing this to raise awareness, to help people that perhaps aren't as confident as me to get the confidence to stand up for what's right.
So do you know a lot of people who have this problem but just let it go?
There's been a few people that I know that have been refused, and they will tell Uber, but they don't take it further. TfL have been brilliant.
That's Transport for London, yeah.
Yeah, and they've been brilliant with helping me arrange all the court cases. They've just been fantastic, really.
On the other hand, the cases that have been brought do seem to be you. Does it suggest to you that actually there need to be more prosecutions, which are, you know, regardless of the involvement of Jade?
I definitely think more people need to take a stand and do what I'm doing, really.
Jade Sharp. The charity Guide Dogs told us
it's against the law for any taxi or private hire service to refuse access to assistance dog owners. Sadly, Jade's cases are evidence that refusals continue to take place. Jade is working very closely alongside TfL's licensing department, who have supported her throughout these investigations and court cases. The charity Guide Dogs has worked hard with TfL on a recent Assistance Dogs in Taxis and Private Hire Vehicles campaign to highlight the law to the industry. Nationally, Guide Dogs is calling on the government to bring an end to these refusals, tougher sentences for drivers, and the law strengthened to prevent refusals taking place in other settings.
And if you want to comment or have a query about anything you've heard on tonight's programme, our action line is 08